Hey people, it's Nice Toki. Now I titled this video Morality as Performance Art because it goes to the heart of what I've been saying about how a lot of people don't really care about certain issues. It's just about it's about getting social validation. And one of the things I want to start off with is we have all these mass shootings, and I wanted to approach this because I made posts talking about it. And people have got posts online talking about end gun violence. You don't need an AR-15. Oh, we live in a safe society, and we gotta save the children. And first off, I'll start with this. I made a post talking about, I looked at the CDC figures. I think that's where it's from for 2020, and it showed that 45,000 people in America died over a gun in some way. Of that, 54% were suicides. So it was a statistical fact that you're more likely to harm yourself than other people. Of that, I think it was like 19,000 were killed by guns, either accidentally or murdered by other people officially. So then I actually did the research. So I looked up deaths by strokes, death by heart attacks, death by alcohol, and I found out that the number of people that died were well over 1 million. And it came out to, statistically, that for every one person murdered by a gun, 80 people died of other illnesses. And that's not also taking into account other things like, say, cancer, lung cancer, diabetes, deaths by car crashes, or deaths of people who have yet to be alive, like abortion. Then it will probably be like 200 to 1. And with that, I was trying to prove that most people don't actually care about people's deaths. They care because the TV told them to. Because the TV said gun violence is more important. Look, is it not just as tragic if someone's family members are dying in a hospital of heart disease or liver cirrhosis or a stroke? Well, yeah, but it's not as glamorous, it's not as exciting. It doesn't make for good TV, so nobody wants to care. And then, going on about this whole idea of morality as performance art, I saw this, D-list celebrity on Instagram, and they were having some petition, sign this, get guns out of our schools, save our kids, basically protect children from gun violence. And this celebrity was a big supporter of pro-choice, abortion, Planned Parenthood. And I'm like, what? So let me get this straight. According to you, it's okay to kill children as long as you do it in the societally accepted way. Hey, don't use this piece of metal to kill children. Use this piece of metal. Hey man, we don't murder children in schools. Be a civilized human being. Get your ass to the abortion clinic and kill them there. That's how a caring person is like. And I realized stuff like that showed me it's not about protecting children. It's about winning social validation. And then you can go on to other things. So I want to talk about like feminists. Now, feminists will talk all about protecting women from sexual violence, which is important. Of course it is. And then you always hear these Western feminists, and they always go on and on about more and more of these irrelevant things that don't actually matter. They'll talk about naming things like her story or they'll talk about manspreading, which is like basically if a man is on public transport and his legs are spread, it's a socially violent act. And you just think, these are the most ridiculous things you've ever heard of. Like somebody actually petitioned and protested about this. And you think all these feminists who care so much about women, why don't they talk about all the rapes and the sexual violence that happens to women in the Congo, the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo? I mean, the sexual violence there is really bad. And some of the stories I've heard is just, oh my God, you couldn't believe what happens to them. The sexual violence is going so bad and out of control that even men are being attacked. But they don't want to talk about it. Why? Because the victims are poor, the victims are black, and there's no CNN talking about it. So, hey man, I can't get no fame or street cred or trending on social media talking about them. So why would I go? And there's no people to escort them there and keep them nice and safe while they protest in Congo. It's one of these third world countries where the police are unreliable or possibly dangerous themselves at best. And then I want to talk about other things along with this. So For those of you who remember When They See Us, it was around 2019, and people were crying constantly on social media. Oh my God! Oh, these poor black boys being railroaded by the justice system, people crying and obsessing about it. And they were so upset. And then I saw on some pro-black social media accounts in 2020, or was it 2021, they were posting that a Nigerian state, I think Kaduna State, were now introducing the death penalty and castration for rape. And people were like, yes, yes. And I'm like, were we not just crying a couple of years ago about the false imprisonment and death? I mean, false imprisonment, not death, they didn't die, of these black boys. And now people are cheering to give the law even more power to go overboard if they make a mistake. So before, at least they were able to be proven innocent and released and given compensation. I mean, I don't think any amount of compensation could fix what happened, but to some extent it was able to be fixed. Now people are cheering, yeah, that's right, cut her balls off, kill them. And if you have any familiarity with how the justice system in Nigeria works, you know, there are people in jail for 2, 3, 4, 5 years simply waiting for their trials. They haven't been found guilty of anything. People cry about Khalif Browder and, you know, how traumatic it was being kept in jail for 3 years without committing a crime. That stuff happens in the regular in Nigeria. There's all these bureaucratic locks. And I ask people, would you trust the police in a modern American city to have that kind of power? To have a black man executed or castrated? We know that. We know that they've had a long history of framing people, black people. But that just goes out the window because the TV tells them, oh, be mad at this. And just to go off on a slight tangent, for all these black on black crime people, why, if this crime that is so bad, why do the police have to frame black people? Surely there must be enough guilty people to throw in jail. But no, they just go silent on that, like, black on black crime, or R. Kelly, or whatever. They won't ever answer the question. And going back to this whole Nigeria thing, and when you bring it up and try and point it out, they just say, well, you just care, you don't care about women. I'm like, it seems every day, every week on social media, a black man is found innocent of the crimes he was convicted and let out, and it's like, again, crying, oh my God, white supremacy, the system is so unjust. And yet, when a black man is accused, everybody gets on board and says he's guilty because the TV said so. So, and they say with such conviction. So you saw him do it? You know him well enough that you can say, yeah, he's the type of person that would do this. And all this stuff about how people react when the television tells them to do something, it reminds me of 1984. There's a scene in 1984 called the 2 Minutes Hate. And people are expected to scream at whatever person is put on the screen. They say this is the most evil person. And they scream how much they hate him, how much they want to murder him. And then it stops. And then they put Big Brother up and everyone's supposed to be calm and happy. Oh my God, this is the person we're supposed to like. And that's really what I'm getting to. People don't have any morality or decency. They just do whatever the TV tells them to. They just care about whatever the media says. You know, it's like a light switch. Next week, if the media presses it, everyone will talk about cancer. Oh my God, we got to do something about cancer. What about all these months and years when people have been dying of cancer before? Did you not care? Well, the TV wasn't telling me to. So anyway, look, I've done this argument and I think I've given enough examples. So anyway, it's just something to think about. Please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.